Berger is set to leave McLaren at the end of 1992. The 1991 world champion has today announced that he will be departing McLaren at the end of this season, just 2 years after winning the world championship with the team. Berger has said his goal was to be world champion and he's done that, so he's looking for a brand new challenge. He declined to comment on his future but told you'd know very soon, so where's the Austrian heading? And Thierry Boutsen has today announced his retirement from Formula 1 at the end of the season. After 10 seasons, Boutsen has decided to call time on his Formula 1 career, a career that's given him 3 Grand Prix victories to this date, and he'll bow out after the season finale in Australia. And McLaren to run Ford engines in 1993. Ford will partner McLaren for the 1993 season in a 3-year deal with the American giant. Ford spokesman said, "We are very excited to be working with McLaren and very hopeful of major success together." He also did go on to say that there will be engine parity with Benetton, so that's cleared that up. And that's all the news we've got time for, so make sure you like, subscribe, and make sure you enjoy the German Grand Prix. You join us live for the German Grand Prix here in 1992. We are at the Hockenheim Ring. It is bone dry today. It's a fast track, many an overtaking opportunity into the new chicanes that have been righted for this season. And we're hoping it makes the cars a bit safer, a bit easier to overtake. No plane crashes of sort, but this is the grid rundown for today's Grand Prix. No surprise to see Ayrton Senna on pole ahead of his teammate Damon Hill in second place. An absolute performance from the Williams team. Gerhard Berger has outqualified his teammate Game in third, with Game down in fourth place for today's Grand Prix. If he's got any hope in the championship and want to move forward very, very quickly. Nannini down in fifth place. He's ahead of Martin Brundle, who has again outqualified Michael Schumacher in 7th. Lacey down in 8th. He's having a torrid season this year. Eric Comas, after a fantastic podium, he's down in 9th. Suzuki in 10th ahead of his teammate Alboreto. Boutsen, the retiring Boutsen, in 12th place. Gianni Morbidelli and Luigi are in 14th and 15th. Cesare is ahead of Hakkinen in 15th and 16th. Karl Wenglinger ahead of Paul Belmondo in 17th and 18th. And that's 19th is Grulard. Stefano Modena in 20th. Johnny Herbert down in 21st. Bertrand Gachot in 22nd, rounding up the grid. We're ahead for this German Grand Prix today. Down in 4th, we can try and jump our teammate off the line, although starts again, not great for us. And today is no different. It's a shocking start, and that's Nannini up into 4th place immediately. But is he going to be able to cover off the Benettons? And we do just that as we head into turn 1. But Martin Brundle looking racy in third. Actually, I think that's Schumacher who's jumped Brundle in the start phase. Senna is off. Senna is gone. Senna has got a gap, but that's Berger. Berger is trying to overtake Damon Hill for second place. Is he going to be able to have the run into the chicane? No, he is not. But that is Michael Schumacher ahead of his teammate Martin Brundle in the Benetton squabble. So Senna, Hill, Berger, Nannini, Game as they fly through. But we're looking at Damon Hill now, and he's got Gerhard Berger all over the back of his gearbox, his rear wing. He'll be able to taste him soon, which is absolutely an outrageous thing to say, so we'll gloss over that. But they're into the second chicane in this Grand Prix, and Damon Hill surely will be able to stay ahead now with that Williams speed, the Williams power. But we're on board with Game, and he's run a little bit wide there, and he's going to go into the gravel. Oh, he's going to hit the wall with the bump. The bump has saved him. The bump has kept him in this Grand Prix, and he slots in behind Nannini. No, ahead of Nannini and behind Brundle. Oh, that's I think he's just pushing. He's pushing. He's made a little bit of a mistake, and he hasn't dropped too many positions. He's been quite fortunate there. And Game is going to try and move immediately on Martin Brundle, the Brit in the Benetton, up the inside, up into 5th place. It is 5th place, fantastic, and that's Nannini by the looks of things, getting quite racy ahead. And we have got Michael Schumacher in our sights. We are definitely quicker than the Benetton, so we need to try and get past them as soon as possible. Up the inside, move done, move dusted, Nannini out a little bit wide. And we are back up into 4th place, and it looks as though we haven't really lost anything at all. So we've had a great recovery lap and fingers crossed it can remain and we can push forward. And we have got a fantastic run on Alessandro Nannini in his Ferrari, and he's that's poor, and they've touched. Nannini's lost his rear wing, Game's lost his front wing. Oh, that is shocking. Oh no. And that Nannini's going to be out of this Grand Prix. Game is going to have to slowly get himself back to the pits, and he's struggling to make the corner with no front wing. That is to be expected, but Game, that is not great at all. And I'll be honest with you, I don't reckon a penalty will be coming, because the punishment will be he's going to have to come into the pits as well, and I reckon an apology towards Nannini is coming. He's in the pits, front wing change, fill the car to the brim, he'll try and go to the end from here, and that's Nannini in front of us retiring from this Grand Prix. And this is going to leave Game incredibly far down. So, that is poor from him. We've come out in P18 here. We've got Bertrand Gachot ahead of us in his Jordan. And we realistically should be able to get past a lot of these cars and hopefully make our way back into the points. They'll have to pit as well, so we need to kind of push now, maybe. Please. Into the chicane. And that's up into 17th with Bertrand Gachot dealt with. But Alesi is all over the back of Martin Brundle now. And he'll need to find a way past fairly soon, because we believe the Benettons are not going to pit this Grand Prix. Their oversized fuel tank is going to come in very handy here with Schumacher in now 3rd place with Game's antics. But this is Martin Brundle. We're looking at the back of his rear wing, and we've got Jean Alesi trying to be past this rear wing, and he's not really got a whole lot of straight line speed in that Ferrari. Alesi said all season the car is incredibly twitchy. There's not a lot of straight line speed. It doesn't get out of the corners well. Nannini seems to be getting on much better with it, but it would appear that 1992 is a write-off for the Ferrari team. Both staying on for next season, of course. But we're looking at Michael Schumacher now, who is in 3rd place after what has really been a very tricky season for him in his first season at Benetton. Led the Monaco Grand Prix before touching the wall, but both required pitting, so it's safe to say he wouldn't have won the Grand Prix, but a podium was definitely on the cards there. He's down in 3rd, or he's up in 3rd, we should say, and hopefully he'll be able to push to the end of this Grand Prix and stand upon the podium once again. There's a long way to go. And Alesi is looking racy, but there's not a lot you can do with no straight line speed round here. But this is the closest he's been. This is the closest Jean Alesi in his Ferrari has been, and he's going to stay in the slipstream surely, but he keeps darting in and out. I don't know what he's trying to do. And he's out. He's peeled off very quickly. Jean Alesi out again. What's the point in turning up, he must imagine, because this car never seems to finish a Grand Prix, and he is out of the German Grand Prix. And we cut very quickly to, that's Olivier having an engine failure. Deary me. And that's Game all over the back of Morbidelli, Pierluigi Martini, I should say. And they head towards what would be the final chicane on this Grand Prix. He managed to get past without taking anyone's wings off, and up the inside. He's dived past the Ligier of Thierry Boutsen, who is currently breaking down. So, lovely stuff for him. And he's up into 10th place now. So the points, good chunk of points are very much possible here. And he's got Mika Hakkinen ahead of him in his Lotus. And, dearie me, that Lotus is sometimes good. When it doesn't require any downforce, that Lotus is fairly decent. But surely Mika Hakkinen will be wanting something a bit more from 1993, wherever he ends up. But we've got 10th, a handful of Grand Prix laps to go. And we have a couple of cars, I believe, still needing to come into the pits. There's still a chance Game could end up with a few more points here. And one of those men that is meant to come into the pits is Ayrton Senna. We haven't seen too much of him today. He is absolutely flying out front. He's got no one in front of him, no one behind him. He rounds the stadium section. The Williams team are in the pits. He could get out of the pits, have a cup of tea and re-emerge leading this Grand Prix. But he does come down the pit lane. And he will stop for 4 new tyres and some motion lotion. Ready to stop on his mark. So he's taking no quite very cautious heading in. There's no point in ruining it in the pit lane. And Berger's also in, but we believe this is going to be a teller. we believe Michael Schumacher and Martin Brundle are going to stay out, and this is true. Michael Schumacher stays out, and we believe Senna had enough of a gap. He will come out ahead of Berger though, but it's Brundle we're looking at. Will Brundle come out ahead of Gerhard Berger? So Senna has cleared and he's gone. He remains in the lead, and Berger jumps out ahead of Martin Brundle, but is he going to be able to stay ahead? Cold tyres on Berger, hot but worn tyres on the Benetton of Martin Brundle, and they come into the chicane. I imagine after this, I can't imagine Brundle's going to be too much of a threat to that third place, but that does promote Michael Schumacher, who's not too far ahead, into second place. But we're now flashing looking at game, and he's up the inside of the second Minardi today. He jumps up the inside, fantastic move, and he is up into what I believe is now 8th place, potentially. We haven't seen him overtake Hakkinen, who actually I think was in the pits. But we're now looking at Gerhard Berger, who he's put a gap between himself and Brundle, but hasn't really threatened Michael Schumacher as of yet for his second place on the podium. But there's still a few to go, so if Berger's got the pace, he's going to kind of need to put it down now. Schumacher's drove a fantastic Grand Prix. He must be flapping in that car after the unluckiness that he's had this season, but we've got a few more to go. How is this all going to play out, we wonder? Right, we're up in 6th place now, thankfully. It's been a fairly decent recovery drive after our stinker early on in the Grand Prix. And we've been told by the FIA that there will be no penalty because he lost his front wing and was last, essentially. So, yes, that might not go down too well with Nannini, although the FIA are mentioning a proper penalty system for next season, because a lot of drivers think a lot of chaos goes unnoticed. And we're looking at Aguri Suzuki, and this is the final lap of the Grand Prix. Can he get past? But Senna enters the stadium section, and we've barely seen him all Grand Prix, but it's surely a foregone conclusion now that he will be the 1992 world champion. Still a fair chunk of Grand Prix to go, but he keeps extending his lead. He doesn't look out of place at all, but he wins the German Grand Prix, and 25 points come directly to him. And Michael Schumacher holds off a non-charging Gerhard Berger to take his first podium since the start of the season. Berger will come home in 3rd, Brundle 4th, with a fantastic result for the Benetton team this weekend. But this is game. He is all over the back of Suzuki. Is he going to make a move into the stadium section? Get on the brakes nice and early, up the inside. Dabby dozy, he'll be saying to himself inside that cockpit. Up into 5th, so 10 World Championship points for a man who didn't have a front wing, and he had part Ferrari probably still on his car, but he's going to round the last few corners, and it's a fantastic result here. And Suzuki, actually, fair play to him, he'll be down in 6th place for a good chunk of points for the Footwork Arrows team. And there is a double Arrows point score, and there is a Minardi, and that's Mika Hakkinen there. Fantastic. But there is your Grand Prix winner for the 1992 German Grand Prix, is Ayrton Senna. And that's the final classification done and dusted. Confirmation that Ayrton Senna wins yet another Grand Prix this season, but fantastic drive from Benetton and from Michael Schumacher in 2nd place to take 18 points. Gerhard Berger will have to settle for 3rd place. Brundle in 4th to cap off a great weekend for the Benetton team. Damon Hill losing suspension early doors. Alacy's was down to suspension as well. And both Ligiers retired from the Grand Prix. But Hakkinen scoring a point, both Footwork scoring a point. It's been fantastic. But that's the Grand Prix done and dusted. But what has that done to the championship standings for both the drivers and the constructors? Ayrton Senna extends his lead, and it is now 40 points out in front ahead of game. Nannini's non-scoring means he stays on 72 and puts Gerhard Berger less than 10 points behind him. Brundle is less than 10 points behind Berger, but Schumacher has catapulted himself into this fight with an 18 points that leaves him on 43. Morbidelli with another good scoring points today, but his Damon Hill still remains inside the top 10, but Williams are just 7 clear of McLaren now, after McLaren's actually decent point scoring weekend. Benetton have jumped Ferrari now, so Ferrari no longer hold on to third place in this. Ligier remain on 55 due to their non-scoring weekend. Minardi add a few points to their tally, and it's been rather good. But Williams do lead the Constructors' Championship, but Benetton will be over the moon that they've jumped Ferrari. That's definitely what they want to continue to achieve this season. But if you have enjoyed the German Grand Prix, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and join us next time for the Italian Grand Prix. Bye bye.